Welcome back to Spiritually Connect with Tanya Lee. I'm your host, Tanya Lee. We have a fantastic guest on the show today, Ms. Sheetal Story. Not only am I fortunate enough to call her my colleague and client, but I'm also blessed to call her my friend. Sheetal was born with gifts of seeing aura and spirit. You guys, it's going to be exciting. From a young age, she has felt her life's purpose was to help people, and she is definitely doing that, I can promise you. She utilizes Spirit's guidance in all of her aspects of her life and loves to share her knowledge with others. She's honored to help those who choose her, as she knows it's divinely guided to be so. She works for Spirit first and knows they're always supporting us and guiding us to be our very best selves. She is a certified medium, a tarot card reader, a certified meditation teacher, and a master life coach. She also teaches psychic and intuition development classes. Please welcome the lovely Sheetal Story to the podcast. Welcome, Sheetal.
Hello, it's nice to be here. Nice to be here with you and all your beautiful listeners.
I'm so excited to have you. It's been a little bit in the making, I'm not going to lie.
It is absolutely correct.
Okay, we got a lot to cover, so let's get right to it. How'd you realize you're psychic?
Oh man, I think I always knew. I mean, I did always know, but I didn't know what to call it. You know, I come from a very spiritual background. My family is from India, and we're Hindu by kind of religion. So, you know, spirituality, reincarnation, things like that were always kind of very natural in our family. And knowing that our loved ones are with us and supporting us, and always lots of stories in the family about that. But I think I realized I was really different from everyone else because I thought everyone had these gifts, right? I really did. I thought everyone could see aura. And it wasn't until about the age of 9 that I realized I was different. And so I think that was when I realized that I had some abilities that others did not. And, you know, being a child, being different is not what anyone wants to be, or at least at that age, I did not want to be different. I wanted to fit in. So I really put my gifts away at that point.
Mm-hmm. You know, that's very common. A lot of people have told me that. A lot of people have said, you know what, either I was scared of it or somebody told me I was different. And then all of a sudden, I don't want to be different. And like you said, but at 9 years old, to have that gift and to have your family approve of it. So we all know my family didn't approve of it, or, you know, didn't believe in it in that capacity. So you're very fortunate that way. Now, talk about reincarnate. How did you, at the age of 9, how did you know about reincarnate? Like really, that's just not something somebody talks about.
Well, it's very common in Hinduism. I was actually born with the knowledge, or my parents brought us up at a young age, that you have, you know, karma. So what you do in this lifetime matters, and the way that you kind of contribute to the world matters, and you come back. And my mom said that you come back as 7 lifetimes as different animals before you come back as a human. I personally do not believe that to be true anymore. So even back then, when my mom told me that, I was like, I don't think so. Right? I don't believe that I could be a spider. Like I don't think there's consciousness there. Yeah. I mean, there is sentience, yes, but I don't think there's like a soul there. But my mom still to this day saves spiders, which is fine. And yes, and you know, blessed all the spiders be. But I think for me, my mom is very spiritual. So is my dad, right? And it's not that I didn't know that there was a soul, and we always knew that there was a soul, and what you do in this lifetime matters, and being a good person matters. And it was really interesting because I think I always knew, I mean, I had this ability, but I didn't, like I said, didn't want to be different. Yeah. And so when my mom said to me, because I was having nightmares every night, and, you know, God bless my mom, she loves horror movies, right? Scorpio. People that are listening that are astrologers and stuff, my mom loves the darkness and bringing, you know, she glees in like horror movies. So she took me to see Poltergeist when I was 5.
What?
And yeah, she just thought, you know, she thought I would think it's funny. It's, you know, it's not real. And there's the blood doesn't even look real. And of course I freaked right out. They actually kicked us out of the theater because I wouldn't stop screaming. And my mom was like, I didn't know. Like, even to this day, she's like, I really didn't know. She didn't think that I would react that way. But of course I did. And I think that flavored all of my experiences. So even in my dreams, I used to have dreams where there was something trying to take my brother. My brother's 5 years younger than me, and I was always his protector. And I was sort of had these nightmares that something was trying to take my brother, and I'd go down on my hands and knees and pray. And then at the end, this man in a white suit would appear, and I just was like scared of all of it. And my mom, I kept having the same nightmares every night. And so my mom said, you know what, if you're scared and your gifts are in the way, just put them on the shelf for now, and they'll come back later in your life. And I did. At 9, I just put it all away. And so, it was really interesting because my mom helped me even then with sort of going, it's okay, you have control over your gifts. And I think, something you alluded to early on is that, clients of ours, you have clients as well that say this to you, I know, because we've talked about this, is that they're scared. They see these things happening as a child, and they try to talk to their parents, and their parents are like, that's evil, or that's not the light, that's not godly. And you put it all away. And I was really fortunate that I did not have that experience with my parents, but I can relate to those scary childhood nightmares and, sleeping with the nightlight on. A funny little follow-up to that story is I moved away to Vancouver to pursue my career and all that. And when I had come back to Edmonton, where I live, or where my parents live as well, I came to visit my mom and dad, and they had moved. And they had put up all these pictures of, we call it the dead people wall in our culture. We honor the people that have passed away by putting them all up on a wall in these beautiful picture frames. And that's kind of where our altar is. So when we pray, we have our ancestors with us, watching us, and we can talk to our ancestors. So it's really beautiful spiritual practices that I've come from. And so I went to, my parents' house. They'd moved, and I walked into the dead person room, or the God room, and there is this man that was in the white suit that was in my dreams every night when I was a kid.
Okay, wait, how old are you? How old are you here?
Now at that time, I would have been around 27, 20, 25, 27.
Wow.
So all that time, no idea, right? And now there's this man on the wall that is also in a white suit in the picture, may I add, and black and white picture. And I'm like, who is this man? And my mom's like, that's my dad. He passed away when she was 17-ish, around that time, from complications to diabetes. And I never got to meet him. But one of my cousins was born at that time. No, so my mom wasn't, probably in her 20s. And so my oldest cousin, I'm the second oldest cousin in my mom's side of the family. So my oldest cousin was born by then, and he loved babies. So he would actually cry when she would have to go to school or not be there anymore. And so when he passed away, my mom said that he became sort of the guardian of the family. And when I was born in my crib here in Canada, my mom's from Malaysia. When I was born here in Canada, my mom said one night she heard me laughing, and she came to see, because back then they didn't have monitors and all that stuff. So she came to see, and she said she could smell that frangipani, which is another name for that is plumeria, in the room. And my grandfather has a temple that they built in his honor in Malaysia that has the plumeria tree that's growing in that temple. So she knew that my grandfather had come to bless me, and she said, yes, he's always been a protector for you. I'm like, I didn't know, I didn't see this picture before. So it was a really cool, oh, that's interesting, not scary, actually a protector. And I've been protected all along. So that was pretty cool. Aha.
Oh, that's a beautiful story. I love that. Okay, so you're about 27 when this happened. Is that when your gifts opened? Or tell me what happened. Where did you come back?
No, all things in divine timing. It's one of my favorite things to say. It's true. So I put my gifts away at 9, and I actually was really creative as a kid. I used to draw. I wanted to be a clothing designer until I started sewing and realized I was crap at sewing. So I didn't really go in that direction. But it was interesting because when I turned off all my gifts, it was almost like I went really left brain, and I wanted to be a scientist. I actually wanted to be a geneticist and help people have babies because I loved babies and I loved science, and I became really math oriented. And then it wasn't until I got into university that I failed my first calculus test, and I was just like, maybe I'm not meant to be a doctor. Maybe I'm not meant to go that route. So I switched over into law and business. I went into business. And so at that time, everything was good. So it really kind of made me go that route, right? I kind of, everything happens to kind of push you to where you need to go almost, right? Or guide you. And so I went into business, and then I thought I'll go and be a lawyer, right? Because I'm a super achiever, right? Super achievers unite, right? And so we didn't get into law school. I wrote the LSAT twice, took all the tests and the tutorials and everything in 50th percentile. So that wasn't meant for me. And then my fiance, or my boyfriend at the time, proposed. And he said, "You want to come out to Vancouver with me and live with me?" And I said, "Not without a ring." So he came and proposed, and I went out there, and I thought I'll do an after degree to bring up my marks. And within the first week, I knew it wasn't for me. So ended up getting an amazing kick-ass career job in Vancouver, traveled all over the place. And again, so interesting how life kind of like got me to Vancouver, right? And married the man of my dreams, still with him, love him so much. And then we had a child, our first son, and he had a lot of health issues. So we had to move back to Edmonton to be with family, and we needed support. So 3 years later, I had my daughter, and that's when my gifts came in. So it was almost like the foundation was laid for me, right? I had my career going, I had my 2 kids, man of my dreams, like everything had been set. And then all of a sudden they just started to come back in. And it was, I thought that maybe I was watching too much Long Island Medium. You know, I was watching a lot of Teresa Caputo at that time. And I'm like,
bless her.
am I willing this to happen? Right? Like, I didn't know. And that's when it started to come back.
I love that. I love that. I knew a little bit of the story, but not the whole entire thing. So I absolutely love it. I didn't know exactly when your gifts came back. I knew you would put them on a shelf like so many other people. And I love that came back. Now, are your kids psychic too?
Oh man, all children are psychic. They're so intuitive, right? It's not until they start to really kind of start to invest in their ego that they start to push that aside. But both of my children are extremely intuitive. So my daughter was able to see spirit right when she was born. And even we even had this amazing experience where she said to us, so my husband's grandparents are all passed away, but I was able to meet a few of them before they passed. And so his grandparents, his dad's parents, so my daughter's name is Dahlia. And so Dahlia had said, "Mama, I think Granny Ruth came to visit." And I was like, "How do you know Granny Ruth?" And she's like, "She came with her cane, and she had this cane that was all carved, and she said she used to play the piano." And I was like, I knew that she'd played the piano. And she said, "Yeah, she went to school for it, Mommy." And she said she used to have kids in the house, and she would teach them how to play the piano when Grandpa was little. And I'm like, okay, I don't know about that. I don't know, like I've never heard that story before. I knew that she played the piano, and I knew she'd gone and got a degree with her, like she was a classical pianist, right? But then settled down and then never kind of did anything, rural Manitoba. And so Jason, I asked my husband, Jason, and I said, "Do you know about Granny Ruth? Did she teach people in the house?" "No, she would never teach people in the house. Like that, they were very private people," she tell him. Like, "Can you ask your dad? Just ask your dad and see if that's true." And he asked his dad, and he says like, "Oh yeah, Granny Ruth used to teach children how to play piano in the house when we were little." So Jason didn't know. There was no way I knew that. And so she definitely, like, that was our proof that she had actually had that encounter with her dead great grandmother. Which was really quite cool. Now she's begun to lose that gift. She doesn't feel or sense spirit anymore, but I know it'll come back for her when it's time, like it'll come back. And then my son is a little healer. So he's been very ill in his life with a lot of, almost died twice, and just a lot of chronic conditions. And we decided we wanted to take Reiki. I took Reiki because I was interested in energy and the way energy moved. I just love all things energy. Just wanted to figure it out for myself. And then both the kids had sort of expressed interest in going to do Reiki. So they did their level 1.
What?
And yeah, so they both had their level 1 Reiki.
You're
and
the
so
coolest
now
mom ever.
So it was just something I'm like, "Hey, you guys want to do this?" And they're like, "Yeah, let's do it." So ended up taking their level 1 Reiki. And Caden now, so Caden's my son, because of everything he's gone through, he actually wants to be a doctor because he wants to help kids that have gone through what he's gone. He's had a lot of needles and gone under and almost died. And so nurses and doctors changed his life. So he wants to do that now and be a little healer. And I just thought, oh, that's so interesting that would be his experiences, because in the moments that those were happening, Tanya, it was awful. Like awful. He was on death's door twice. And we were just like, what is going on here? And I realize now, I mean, everything for an opportunity is what I like to say. So he had those illnesses because that's now made him want to be a doctor. So now he's got his hands are just miracles. Like he can take away our headaches. He'll come in and he's like, Mom, do you want me to do Reiki? I see you have a headache. I was like, yeah, I do. And his hands will get hot, Tanya, hot. He'll close his eyes and he'll put his little hands on my head and he'll just take away the headache and he'll just make people feel better. Like he's just so a natural healer. So I think this is so cool when we start to, when in astrology, see this generation of children that are coming up now. They're born with these healer, sensitive abilities that they might not know how to use it now, but man, watch out. 20 years from now, it's going to be a very different world.
I couldn't agree more. I love that you talked about that, because even like lots of people are asking me to teach their children. Hear me out. I don't teach children like normally. Hear me out. So people don't call Sheetal for her son. And
yeah, I don't teach children either.
Yeah.
That's a special gift that I do not have.
Really is. I love them. Don't get me wrong. But they're coming faster and faster. So at 5 years old, people are messaging me saying, hey, my daughter has gifts, and I'm blown away at these gifts that they have. I mean, you hear about it here and there but the amount that is amassing and saying, yeah, me too. Holy cow, people. You're right. They're coming, the children right now. I mean, there's indigo children, there's crystal children, rainbow children, all those kind of stuff. That is generational gone already, but these new ones coming on, they're just faster and faster. And I mean, that goes with everything. And I think being in the womb of somebody that is, how we call it, woken or awoke, or however you want to phrase that, whatever that looks like, a spiritually connected in some way. I think that definitely helps.
I think so. And we have a generation now of parents that are coming up being more and more conscious of allowing children to have their feelings. And as you know, your spirit speaks to you in emotion. Mm-hmm. So if you're stuffing those down, you're not going to be able to understand what it's saying to you. So I think these new generation of parents are going, okay, what are you feeling? Let's honor your feelings and let's be, careful in that we're still fitting into society and not, 30 years old having a temper tantrum at Aldo Shoes because you didn't get the sale that you want, So I mean, it's so hard. You want them to be able to work in society, but you also want them to honor their gifts and talents. But I think naturally, what I'm noticing with my kids is as they get older, and you can look at that, back to your own childhood, that we want to fit in with our friends. We get to that age, especially around 12 to 15, 16. It's your friends are your definition of your identity. And so at that age, we almost start to train ourselves out of our gifts because we're trying to be what everyone wants us to be, which, I'm trying to let them like hold on to their spirit. I'm almost like forcing their spirituality on them at this point. You're like, don't forget to listen to your spirit and don't let anyone tell you what to do. Like the teacher told me, I'm like, yes, okay, you have to listen to her, but don't forget about yourself. So it's like, it's such a fine line as a parent to be conscious and still honor the gifts. And yet, yeah, it's a very fine line. So for all the parents that are listening, cut yourself some slack. I always say, whether you're woke or not, you give them guidelines or not, you're strict or you're not, they're going to need therapy. So yes, just honor that. Let's normalize therapy. Let's allow everyone to be, helped, and know that you're doing the best you can with what you have in every moment.
Agree. Yes, normalize therapy. I like that. It's true. I think everybody should do therapy. If you've got benefits to do therapy, all the better.
Yeah, use them.
Go. Our parents messed us all up, and our, as your children are going to mess up their children and those children, and each one does the best they can with the tools they have. So absolutely nothing is perfect, and it's through our own perception, of course, right, that you had a terrible childhood or you had a great childhood. So for sure. Oh yes, preach. Okay,
don't get down on yourself if you're listening to this podcast and you're like, oh my God, I think I've screwed up my kid. You didn't. You're doing great. Just love them and help them to understand that they are loved no matter what.
I love that. Yes, absolutely. Beautiful. Guys, this is like a great mom, so I'm just saying, heed the advice. I love that. Okay, let's switch gears just a little bit. I want to talk about some stuff that you got going on right now. What do you got going on right now, man? You just a little bit, just a few things going on.
Oh man, I got the best coach. Uh,
No plug at all.
Full disclosure, Tanya is my coach, has been my coach throughout the last 2 or 3 years. So yes, the one thing that actually I'm super proud of, and from an entrepreneur standpoint, like I love helping people to come into their gifts, to trust their intuition, and to realize that your purpose lives within your soul. So if you're listening to that soul and following it, you will live a purposeful life and embody it in all of the avenues, all the zones of your life. So I love, love, love not only to help people come into and trust their intuition, but then follow that to their purpose. So we just designed a new 21-day challenge for discovering your soul purpose. And every day you get a video and a worksheet on how to dive deeper and deeper and deeper into all the little flags along the way that are showing you what is your purpose. Because if your purpose isn't just one thing, you're not like, I'm a nurse, I'm done, that's it, I'm living my purpose. And actually it doesn't have to even be in your career. A lot of people have their purpose that they live out in their hobbies or in their charity work or in their family or even in their own health battles and struggles and triumphs in life. So this 21-day challenge, I'm just so proud of it, because we did all the recordings and we have a Facebook group that's going to support it, and it's going to be really interactive, but then also very introspective for each of the people that are taking it. So I cannot wait to open the doors to that. That's coming up right away at beginning of August. And then we also have that's going to go into the 3-month passion and purpose group that I just love to go deeper with people who are really wanting to understand what is their purpose and how do I live it. And I think one of the biggest things that we see, especially, and you and I have been having this conversation about trauma and how you cannot out sequence, out meditate, out do any of that stuff, your trauma. You have to sit with those fears and see them for what they are and where did they start to come into your life, and then heal those, integrate them. So you cannot live, your purpose is actually the opposite of your trauma. So if you look to see what in your childhood that you didn't get or a need that was not met, you actually want to do that and be that for others who do not have that need met. So it's so cool when you look at the divine design of your life and how you have had the childhood that you have had. And this is for all the parents listening once again, is that your children are getting from it whatever they need to be the human that they need to be, to have the life purpose that they need to have. So there's nothing you can do that's going to alter or change that, no matter how loving, no matter how safe, no matter how many rules, they're going to have whatever comes in. So that's what I've been working on. It's really like my jam. I love to help people step into their purpose and do the healing as we go along. You can't out meditate it or DNA activate it, or like, you really have to sit with it.
Yes, there's freedom through fear. Yes.
Freedom through fear. Oh, I love you.
You too. I love you too. So can you take me a little bit into the past? You guys, she is just a dynamo when it comes to life purpose. I tell everybody to go to her. You don't know who you are, where do I belong? Right now, a lot of people are sitting in their late 30s, 40s going, I just raised this family. Now what? And I find that a lot, like lots are coming to me at that. Go see Sheetal. I mean, yeah, come see me too, but for different reasons. I promise I'll set you up on I'll work with you on entrepreneurship. But for you, it's like, let's get into the nitty gritty of what that looks like. Let's really feel that into it. So can you give us just a little overview of maybe one exercise or something that you'll do in life purpose to help them really hone it in?
I think it's so interesting. I like to give them a big win right off the get-go with finding out what your life purpose statement is. And that life statement is actually an embodiment of an emotional being that you do for yourself first and then for others. So if loving yourself and loving all the parts of you has been the most challenging thing for you, that is likely your life purpose. So there's a whole exercise that goes along with that I'm not able to do today. And then we then we go into what has been holding you back from doing that. Is it money? Is it time? Because it's not actually that. There's a scarcity mindset underneath there. Or there's something underneath that's self-doubt, or it's so interesting when you start to look at where did that become in your life? Who told you you could not be what you wanted to be? And then what did you make that mean about your life? And then you just created this whole ecosystem about why you can't be what you want to be. And so we just dismantle all of that and then come into, okay, now how do we embody this? What zones do we want to do that in? What's my why? Where do our values sit? And then where do I want to go from here? So we create a roadmap into actually doing your purpose. You know, it's not one of those courses that you take and then you put on the shelf and you're done with it. I know you and I have taken lots of those courses.
Ooh, girl.
Girl, it's a graveyard of those courses
Graveyard.
in my backyard. And I want them to leave or even move on and do the thing. And I think it was interesting you had said that 38 to 42 in astrology, that is called our midlife breakthrough point. Actually, it's called the midlife crisis, but I've rebranded it. But the midlife breakthrough, and it's Uranus opposite Uranus, and Uranus is the planet of chaos and upheaval, but it's actually great awakenings. It's the great awakener in astrology. So when that planet comes to be the opposite of itself from where you were born with it, that is called your midlife breakthrough, because you're breaking through all of the crap that you told yourself, that other people told you that you were, and you are now redefining your life for you. So that's a very common age bracket that you mentioned, and it's in astrology. That's why I love astrology, because it's the cycles of the stars. You can't make that stuff up. It's so interesting. So yes, that common age range that people are coming to you, and I think, you know, entrepreneurship, hands down, Tanya is like the goddess in helping people get set up on entrepreneurship. But your life path might not be entrepreneurship.
That's right.
I had a girl who was in one of my oh my God, she was just amazing. Had risen to the highest echelons of her job. She was an executive in this company, worked so hard, mama of two, and decided like she wasn't really happy. And I think the number one thing a lot of my clients say is that they feel guilty that they're not happy. They have everything. She had a loving husband, she had children, she has a house, she has money, she has everything that she ever wanted. It was a goal. She had achieved all her goals, and now she felt empty. And the emptiness is because the purpose wasn't there. This job was not purposeful for her. And so we found her purpose in that. She went through all the exercises and it came out. She was finally able to claim it. You know what she claimed?
No, tell me.
She wanted to be an accountant.
Settle down. Hey?
An accountant. Because
Wait,
the accounting was something that as a child, her mom was an entrepreneur, and the money and the numbers, she loved it. But everyone said, go into business, go into being an executive, don't worry about the numbers. And I think one of her family members married an accountant, and she was just thought that would be the most amazing thing to help people manage their money, small businesses, people who are making an impact in the world, and helping to set them up so they could make money to then help others, the ripple effect. And I was just like, oh my God, yes. It's not just always entrepreneurship or working, for yourself, although you and I have that goal, but it's others. Sometimes it's all about your life purpose could be working for a charity or working for another job or being an accountant. I mean, it's just, so cool when you start to see everyone's path, right? It's like we need people doing all the different things to make this world go round. So what a different world it would be if our children were able to be cultivated into their purpose right from the get-go. And purpose evolves. So you could have your purpose, purposeful job. I had a lady, another wonderful, amazing client. She was a Disney on Ice skater. Ooh. And realized her dream early on. And she didn't actually get into skating until her late teens, and was just a genius at it, did so well, escalated she did so good, got into Disney on Ice, traveled the world for so many years, realized she needed to settle down. She had made that part of her life come true. Now what's next? And she's actually producing her own television show now, because she just likes to be a performer and bring people in and give them an experience. That's her purpose, right? And so it's like now she's transitioning to your purpose evolves with you, but your purpose kind of is an embodiment that you live through whatever you're doing. So you're likely already living your purpose. You're just not really aware of it, and then doing it in a conscious way that makes you happy.
Yeah, girl. I love that. I love that. You're only the second person I've ever heard. I thought that was honestly a myth that people, I mean, I've been to Disney on Ice, I'm not going to lie, but I thought there was honestly a myth that people got to do that until I had a cousin who did it. And she did it for, I believe it was 6 or 7 years before, again, she settled down with kids and knew she had to go back to Saskatchewan in Canada. But I think it's amazing. I love that they live out their dreams. My dream, I gotta be honest, I gotta share the Disney thing. Mine was to be Snow White at Disney World. And I had a connection too. Oh, I was doing it right after I did college, then university. So right after university, I was doing it. I was in, man. I was gonna do it. And then of course life events change, and the universe says, yeah, that's not your path, girl. You're gonna do
You
something.
have more that Aurora Sleeping Beauty with the long blonde hair and the skin and stuff. Oh yeah, you're totally Sleeping Beauty. 1,000%.
I'll take that one way better anyways. My pasty white skin. Yeah, no, we'll skip the Snow White. Okay, I do want to come back to, you are an amazing astrologer. You've studied and worked very hard to get there. I don't want to dim that, because for those of you that are listening, she just, her and I will sit for dinner or for coffee, and she'll be like, well, that's not in your chart. She'll just pull that up in 2 seconds. She's got my chart. So she's my client, but I'm also her client too for astrology. And bless her heart, the first time I sat with her for astrology it was almost 3 hours. And I said, no, we got to talk about how this is going to work out. And let's work business. Because she just wants to give you, like, you just want to give so much. And that's what I love about you. You just give. And that's, I mean, we restructured you a little bit, but for the most part, a little bit, because that's as much as you'll let me do.
A lot. She did a lot.
But the amount that you give is, you're not walking around. So there's people, I'm going to be very open with you. There's people that say they're astrologists. They do, astrologers. And it's like, let's just be clear, they're not. Bottom line, they're not. They say they are and have the best of intentions, just because you could see the moon, you know what it is, you don't, and I'm making fun of it a little bit light here, and your zodiac and all this kind of stuff, but that's not what it's about. It's way more in depth than that. Like this, like Sheetal, you talked about Uranus is this over here, over there, and doing this, and yeah, of course, the 38 to 42. I love that about you. And there's so much. Mine's still numerology. Like, it's one of my favorites. It's my go-to. I'm about numbers, but I am not an accountant, let's be clear. But I love yours is about, okay, well, that makes sense to do that on that day. That doesn't make sense to do that on that day. Here's a good day to do that. And you guys, I'm going to give you a little secret here. Sheetal, I shouldn't do this because I didn't ask permission before, but Sheetal and I are working out a little beta program right now. She's testing it on me. And then I honestly think it works. So she doesn't know that, but it works. And I think we're going to come to, probably in January of the next year, we'll have flushed it a little bit more, because it takes a bit to flesh out. And I think she's going to have a new program coming through that it's good days, bad days for you. And it's very, very special and unique. I didn't give it totally away, but I
didn't know I was doing that program. Surprise. Channeled reading right here for me. No, I just kidding. Yeah, we've talked about it before. I love astrology for the cycles, because I think, I'm sure everyone listening, and you and I both know what it is to fight the energy that is presenting, trying to make something work, trying to open a door that keeps closing in your face, trying to be with that guy that's like always cheating on you, trying to do the thing, get into law school, and I fail in the LSAT. So it's like that kind of thing. Those are flags that you're going in the wrong direction. And what I love about astrology is it makes it so easy, because you can see in people's charts what is presenting, where the planets are really aligning for you at this time in your life. Maybe it's career, maybe it's family. I often get clients that come and, want to have a baby, and I'll look in the chart and you can see, like, it's so amazing where you can see that part will light up, where there's certain transits and certain aspects in charts that are a higher propensity, a higher opportunity to have a baby during that time. Does it happen? We have free will. We have free will.
Yes.
So, I always say, like, if you have, one of our mentors, Andy, also says, if you have an opportunity to go for a job, like if it shows your career is going to expand and you don't go for the interview, nothing's going to happen. You're
Exactly.
not going to be able to go for that. So you have to have that free will, but you're going to get this nudge that you got to go for this job interview. There's something that's there for you. So that knowing is always guiding you, right? That intuition is always there. So key to everything. But astrology can show you where things are going to really be building for you, or where there's going to be a little bit of trouble up ahead. So you can sort of shore up, right? So right now, I'm going to share a little piece of me.
Yes.
Saturn, which is the planet of restriction and are you doing the right thing, responsibility, it's also scarcity and fear, is moving through my money house right now.
Mhm.
God bless. So, it's been great because I have to look at my debt in the face. I have to look at my money fears in the face, and what does money mean to me? What did I inherit? So I've been doing so much work around money, and actually Tanya has been helping me with that as well. And that is going to shore me up for the next part when Saturn moves into communication. So maybe I'll be able to do, a course, or I'll be able to teach on all the things I just went through about money and helping people with their money, because I'm going through it. I'm getting the knowledge. I'm getting the knowing from the knowledge. I'm actually doing it in my life. So I think with astrology, what I love is that it does show you how to surf the energy for the best and most aligned life with the least amount of stress. So even, we were practicing, what I was practicing on Tanya was like, what are your most creative days in the month? And then you can also see in your astrology, what are your lowest energy days when the sun is opposite its original position in your chart. So there's going to be a time in about a week in the year where it's going to be your lowest energy day. And then where the sun is squaring its original position, a 90-degree angle, that is also a low energy day. So you can see these parts in your chart. So I've actually mapped them out in my calendar, and I am taking no clients, or I'm taking a holiday on those times, because that time is going to be a time for me to just be. Right? I cannot be outputting and putting and doing things for everyone else when I don't have the energy. I already know I'm not going to have that. So it's the same thing with the moon cycle. Every month, the moon goes into a full and new moon. And so the full moon and the new moon tend to be high energy times where it's a little chaotic, right? No energy on the new moon. And then the full moon tends to be like amped up energy. So if you plan your week around that, how much better can it get? I also say you can use your menstrual cycle. If you're a menstruating woman, you can use your menstrual cycle too, and use your menstrual time as the new moon. So don't plan anything during that time because you don't want to see anybody. And then when you're ovulating is when you're in your full moon, when you feel so good and you're looking so fly. So that is a time to be out and doing photo shoots and being out in public. So there's so many cool things to astrology. Was something I picked, and really how it came into my life was shocking, because I was going through the opening of my gifts coming back again. I was seeing dead people all over the place. I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? I feel like I'm crazy. And I went to a friend of mine at the time and said, you need to go see this astrologer. She's a world-class astrologer. She's here in Edmonton. She used to go around the world, travel. She's now passed away, unfortunately. She's my mentor. But she was here. And so I went to see her. I didn't tell her anything, because that's like, you tell me you got gifts, let's show me, right? And so I was just like, okay, I didn't say anything. And she looks at my chart. She's like, what do you say you do for a living? And I said, I'm a sales rep in the food industry. She's like, no, that's not what you do. No, that's not. What do you really do? It's like, I see dead people, I think. And she said, yes, that makes sense. And here's why. And she went through my chart and she showed me all the reasons why that was exactly what I was meant to do. And I was like, oh my God, I started crying actually, because I felt like she actually saw me, right? I didn't know what to, and other people would say, oh, this is what you're meant to do too. But I'm like, I didn't believe them. But this woman didn't know anything about me. It looked at this, and then she said some other things in the chart that was like, what? That you can't make up. Was you get headaches when you come up against roadblocks, because the energy ricochets back into you, because you are a go-getter and you need for an outlet for it. So she said, you need to work out. And I was like, have you been talking to my mom? Like, my mom said I need to work out. It was so interesting. And then a couple other things. And I was like, I need to know this magic. What is this magic that she is seeing in this piece of paper with all these hieroglyphics all over the place? I had no idea what any of it meant, but I knew I needed to learn it. And so I started taking classes from her, and 6 years straight classes, going to this woman's house on the south side of Edmonton. She became one of my closest and dearest friends. and I became a certified astrologer. And it was hard. It was a 6-hour exam. I certified under ESAR, which is the International Society for Astrological Research. And it is, I actually had to take electives and consultation skills and ethics skills. Like, it's not just, I taught myself with reading a bunch of books, but I feel like, you know, you'd said earlier, there's people that, I call myself an astrologer. There are people that call themselves astrologists. I don't know what is the proper term. I will say I don't like astrologist for me, but that's for me. But there's also this feeling of like, what defines who you are? You define who you are. So if these people think that they're really good astrologers and they're out there helping people, then who's to say, right? And so I think we've talked about, there's people out there that are doing mediumship, that's doing astrology, that's doing numerology, that's doing coaching, and they're not great at what they do. But what happens is they open up people to a world of like, okay, I got this, let me try somebody else, or this isn't working for me, or I think I need to go somewhere else, and then get blown up, you know, just like blown away by how good it could really be. And so I think, you know, God bless all the people that are out there trying to do what they're doing and opening the door to people like us who can then come in and really take it to the next level, is what I say. 'Cause I'm a certificate junkie. I think that was really important for me to have. It was important for me to be, I guess, you know, certified and know that I could do it before I did it, because we're in such a wooey industry. Right. And I really love the word woo. I claim it because I think it's like woo, we make the woo real and tangible, and we ground the woo, you and I, which is what I love about you. And so I think that's really important, to be that standard and hold people in a space where, you know, I think I'm also a grief counselor. And so helping people through that grief and giving them tools and foundations for that, it's really important, rather than saying that their son is in purgatory and you have to pay me $1,000 to get him out. Like, you know, all that bullshit stuff that just, drives me crazy. So yeah, I think that, you know, astrology is one of those things. Like, if you're interested in astrology and you're listening to this podcast, check out different people. And I fully encourage you to please check me out. I do a full moon and new moon post. I talk about the astrology, and there's other people doing that too. And there's people that I look up to that are doing that too. I don't have to be for you, but I feel like you really do need to educate yourself and see what people are saying and really look into what's their background and can they support you in the way that you need it.
Agreed. Well said. Well stated. Love that. And no, I really wanted to highlight that you're legit. Like, not that everybody else isn't, but you know, you've worked. I so appreciate the work that you have put into it, the amount of learning that you do. And you guys, Sheetal doesn't do anything half-assed. It is not halfway there. Remind me again what your astrological sign might be.
Virgo. I'm a little anal.
No. Not a little. Let me tell you, I love my
only
Virgo.
Just a Virgo sun though. My moon is in Sag. That's why I love to learn.
Let me tell you about Virgos. I love my Virgos. They keep, like, I'm Aries and we get along so well. We love that. We balance each other very well. And Virgos keep me on my toes. Definitely so. I love that. Absolutely. Okay. You alluded a little bit to the 21-day challenge that is coming up. You guys just sign up for that. That's ridiculous. Just do it. It's going to, worst case scenario, it highlights your life. You move up on the vibrational scale, a scale or two, or you absolutely love it and it's the exact thing you need to do, and you go into passion and purpose from there on, and you join every single one of her programs because they're all so amazing, and she over delivers in everything. She's got astrology. You could do an astrology reading with her. The sky's the limit. She's got some mastermind stuff coming up, and I'm going to share this. Nobody else knows about this.
Oh no.
And I'm just giving everything away today. Sheetal and I are writing a book together, just the two of us, just about our psychic experiences, and we hope to have it out by Christmas. That's the plan.
My God. You're declaring that? You're declaring that?
I am. We're here right now.
Okay.
We We could do it. We could do it. Yeah. Are you in
Yeah.
by Christmas?
Yes, I'm in. I'm always in with you.
So we didn't have a date before, you guys. Honestly, we've talked about it. We built it. Parts of it's built. It's more than halfway built. Let's be honest. We're almost there. It's just a matter of final touches, which is usually the last end is always the longest.
Editing, yeah.
Exactly. So super excited about that. We're going to joint venture together. Going to be so much fun.
So
okay.
excited.
How can somebody reach you? How do they get a hold of you? What's the website? What's your favorite platform?
My favorite, I'm really active actually on social media. So you can find me on Instagram at Sheetal Story. So it's SHEETAL Story, STORY. That's my handle on Instagram. And I am very, very active on Instagram. I'm also active on Facebook. I have a Facebook page under Story of Spirit Medium, I think it is, that one. I tried to change it to Sheetal Story, but I couldn't. It was too late, unfortunately. And then my website is www.sheetalstory.com. So definitely, all three of those places, but Instagram is where I have everything right away. If you get onto my newsletter from my website, I do have early bird and sneak peeks to everyone on my newsletter. So whenever I'm launching something new, like this 21-day challenge, there'll be a little early bird for people who are on my newsletter. So yeah, so please do. I love meeting new people. I'm a total extrovert. I love talking to new people and people in the DMs and all that stuff. I love connection and community. It's actually a huge highlight in my chart. I love creating safe community for people to come together and meeting new people. So please do introduce yourself or let me know you heard me on this podcast. I would so love to connect with you. And I just absolutely want to help in any way that I can. I really do. It's part of who I am.
So speaking helping, are you open to doing just a couple of readings?
Yeah, absolutely I am.
Okay, let's do 4. So full disclosure, normally what I do is I will send the person's name ahead of time to her who belongs to my inner circle. In order to get a reading on this podcast, you must be in my inner circle. And so Sheetal has no clue. We didn't prep this ahead of time. She didn't have no questions. She didn't have nothing. I said, let's just hop on and let's just do it. And so she has no idea what's happening right now. All right, let's start with the first one. Catherine C. Okay,
so my first impression of Catherine is that she is a strong woman who tells it like it is, and she don't put up with shit. Is what I feel with Catherine. Catherine also feels like she's got a very, very soft and intuitive side to her that is really like thirsty to learn more and wanting to really kind of hone in on her intuition. But I feel like if I'm going to give some little tough love to Catherine, is that she wants to like eat the whole lion right now. And it's like, it's so much to chew. And it's almost like, oh my God, what's going on right now? Because it's so much that you try to take in so much at a time. So I'm going to say little bits at a time. I think Tanya always says, how do you eat the elephant? One bite at a time. So I feel like for you, it would be a really great idea is to have a plan and a direction, and then kind of where you want to go, and then create your steps to get there and be diligent in the steps. Because I feel like you get a little bit sidetracked because you are like, oh, squirrel, oh, this over here, oh, I need this over here, I need this over here. You just have a thirst for knowledge, and girl, I get you, because I do too. I want to pull a card for you. So I had a little nudge to bring my Moonology deck today. The Moonology deck is by Yasmin Boland. I love this card, and of course, because I'm an astrologer, this is my favorite decks. So the card that I'm going to pull for you, a personal issue reaches resolution, a full moon in Cancer. And really interesting because we are in Cancer right now, to Cancer season. It's about the family, about intuition. This feels like an inner foundation, a friend, a close girlfriend that maybe you've been having a little bit of friction with. And I feel like it's just a bit of a misunderstanding. So you're going to be able to find a resolution by talking about your feelings with each other during a time when you both are in a good space. So it just feels like there's just some emotional friction that's been there over time, and just talking about it will actually bring your friendship closer together. So I hope that helps you, Catherine.
Oh, that's lovely. You hit her spot on. I love that. That's perfect. All right, let's do Erin.
Erin. Is it Erin with an A or Erin with an E?
Erin with an E, E-R-I-N.
Okay, so Erin with an E, I feel a much softer, sweeter, kinder, empathic energy with Erin. Not to say that Catherine's not kind and all that stuff. I feel like Catherine's got kind of some boundaries and she don't put up with what's what. Erin feels a little bit softer, and boundaries have been a lifelong lesson for Erin, it feels like. And learning how to say no and not take on the energy of others, because I feel like Erin's a natural empath, EE.
Yes.
And so that natural empathic ability, I feel like even as a child, you would be very used to taking on the feelings of others. I feel like, I'm not sure if this is true, but I feel like you might have a brother or a younger sibling where you would have been a very much a caregiver for, or really wanting to care for people that are younger than you. So it feels like you're just this caring, empathic, kind, hearted person who is still learning boundaries, still learning how to say no and not take on everybody else's ish. And you're doing a great job. I feel like you're in the right place. You're getting the tools that you need. And that's why I think the inner circle has been really feeding your heart, because you're seeing the people around you who are living their boundaries, and it's inspiring you to do the same. I do feel like you've tried to put some of these tactics into place in your life, and you've gotten mixed results, because the people who are taking your energy, not taking, because you can't, no one can take your energy without your permission, but the people that were in your life that they were used to you doing or giving your energy for them, and you pulling that back, they didn't kind of like that. And there was a bit of a bit of friction with that, and you've kind of been trying to find your place with it, is what I feel like. But keep doing what you're doing a good job. I feel like that the boundaries are going to come along, and you're going to find your way in how you say the things that you need to say to kind of set people back a bit. The card I pulled for you is the energy is gaining momentum, and it's the waxing moon. So the waxing moon is when the moon is growing in light and it's growing in momentum. So this says to me, you've got this forward momentum going in your life that feels really good. And I feel like it actually started when you joined this inner circle group, because the energy of like giving yourself permission to step into yourself and follow your intuition unapologetically. I think that is something that you have learned in this group that you are really taking with you. And the energy is gaining momentum. Keep going. You're doing great. And on this card, it's very pink. And that pink is really standing out to me, because I felt this really pink aura as soon as Tanya said Erin, because it's that sweet, empathic, sensitive, compassionate, kind, loving soul that just wants to help. And I feel like be of service. And so you're trying to find your way, and how do I be of service and not take on everybody's crap, but also learning that with your family is always the toughest. So you're doing great. Keep going.
That is legit bang on, because we work on boundaries with her. So I love that. And she does, she's got some momentum going on right now it's really, really cool. Really cool in group. I love that. I'm like nodding my head saying, yes, that's her. That's amazing.
It sounds lovely.
She is.
Lovely.
She is. Miss Mary R.
Mary, quite contrary. I feel like, I don't know why I wanted to talk in an Irish accent, but I feel like there's this feeling with Mary of, man, you are on your way, but I feel like sometimes you get in your own way. And that it's this, I feel like a very smart, brilliant woman who likes to really logically think through things. So very cerebral minded, and you talk yourself out of your intuition. That's what I feel like. Oh my goodness. And it's just very, very intelligent. I feel like that intelligence has really got you to a lot of great places in your life. And there's also a time, but there's a point now where you've kind of like, okay, now you need to transcend that logic and now marry it with your intuition so that you use both. So there's a quote that's coming to mind from Einstein. They said the logic is the intuition is the faithful servant, and we've learned to trust logic without the intuition. There's a quote around that, but it feels like trusting your intuition above your logic is going to be your biggest plight in this lifetime. But your intuition has never steered you wrong, right? It's never steered you wrong. I feel like you've had some stumbles along the way, and those have taught you that if you had followed your intuition, that that would have been really good. And so instead of getting down on yourself about those times that you didn't trust yourself, know that those are amazing lessons that show you that you can trust yourself, right? So I feel like for you, the biggest lesson in this lifetime, or maybe even at this point in your life, is the reframe, right? How can I reframe some of these things that are happening for me so that I know that they're always happening for me, and I can see the opportunity? Because I'll say for you, and it's something I say a lot, but I feel like this is meant for you, Mary, but I feel like there are other people that are going to need to hear this too, is that reason looks back. You want to know why did something happen? Why did this terrible thing happen to me in my childhood? Why do bad things happen to people? And sometimes we never know why. I mean, sure, we can look at the energy and all that kind of stuff, but from a therapy standpoint, I'll say you never can understand why bad things happen to good people. But what the power is in the now moment, and how can we move that forward with opportunity? What's the opportunity that this time in your life is presenting to you, Mary? And what can you do with it now whenever something happens? So let's say you trust your intuition and something happens unexpected. Can you trust yourself now in this moment to make it an opportunity? Because it's always an opportunity if you can see it. So the card I pulled for you, Mary, oh girl, your hard work is paying off. New moon in Capricorn. So Capricorn is all about authority, job, structure, really your reputation out into the world. It rules the top of the chart, and it is a new moon in Capricorn. So this is, to me, you're starting a new leaf. You're turning over a new leaf, or you're starting something new in your life that's building to momentum to a career shift. But I feel like the career shift is going to be like a pivot. You're not actually changing or going to change careers. I feel like you're going to pivot eventually, not just yet, but the seed has been planted now for something to shift in your career. I feel like you've got a very solid career as well, and you're somebody who's kind of been doing their job or their career, and you have a background in that, or knowledge or degree, or it feels like you have like background to it, that you've had the experience and the knowing, and now you're going to move that into something that's more service driven in the future, that's going to be helping like the world elevate in some way. So I almost sort of feel like a spiritual element, a healing element to it, but it's still very grounded, but you're taking it into a bit of a new direction. So hopefully that makes sense.
Ooh, girl, that makes sense for me, for her. I'm excited. She's a fellow Virgo for you.
Love it. Love it. Anal overthinker, perfectionists unite.
I love my Virgos. Last one. Okay, one more. We're good. Okay.
Yep.
Jenny with an IE at the end.
Jenny with an IE. Oh my gosh, I have so many Jennies with an IE in my life, and they all have this energy of being so sweet and so there's like, it reminds me of an air sign where there's intellect, ideas, inspiration, and there's like so much energy that needs to go somewhere, but it needs to go somewhere. Otherwise it's going everywhere. And I feel like this Jenny though feels like she's very sweet and very kind. I want to say cute, but weird, because I don't even know what you look like.
She is.
But I feel like there's this sweet cuteness about you that is very unassuming, but you're actually a powerhouse underneath the facade. So I almost sort of feel like it's a little girl, and then you take you take the Post-it note off, and it's like, oh my God, it's this like sexy mama woman underneath that's just ready to like pow, take it all to the next level. So it feels like, Jenny, you are I feel like underestimated a lot in life. And I feel like the people who are in your life right now don't actually see you for who you are, but you are who you are. You get to be who you are in the group and be yourself in the inner circle. And I think it's like this little safe cove. I almost sort of feel like this little safe cove that you can be yourself and be around people who are like you. And I think when you are in your life right now, I feel like there's a transition coming for you with your friendships when they start to see who you are. I do feel like you have old friendships though that have kind of evolved with you, but you're going through a big kind of jump in your evolution right now with your kind of being exposed to a lot of this stuff that you are you hide some of this spiritualness from them, and you're sort of scared for them to see them because you don't want them to leave. But I feel like they're not going to leave. I feel like you're going to elevate your friends as well, because then you're going to give them permission to come to a new moon ceremony or go to a wild woman festival, or doing these kind of cool things that they're like, I don't know what this is about. And then they go and they do the thing. They're like, oh my God, that was the most amazing, magical thing I've ever done. So you're going to be the gateway drug, I'm going to say, for your friends when you are ready, and that you're not worried for the judgment. Because again, going back to a little bit of Mary, I think it was.
Yeah.
Of trusting yourself,
Mm-hmm.
that if you can trust yourself, that even with these friends, if they saw you and they thought you were wooey as shit, that you were like, yeah. So, right. I mean, no one can shake you if you don't have that, like, that judgment of yourself, right? I always sort of say, no one can press that button if you don't have that button to press. Right. Someone comes up to me and goes, you're a bitch. I'm like, yeah, I'm a bad bitch. Like, you can't, like, what is that? That doesn't annoy me. That doesn't bother me. You can't get a rise out of me. So if someone said you're a crappy friend, I feel like, Jenny, you would like, oh my God, I gotta be bad. But is that even true? Why that that's not true about you? You're such a good friend. I feel like you're such a loyal friend, and you're there for so many of your friends when they're really down. I feel like you have, excuse me, a sensitive heart, and you're very loving and kind. You're just a fantastic friend. I think anyone who has you as a friend is lucky to have you. And as you become more and more yourself, and you're changing and shifting, you're allowing your friends to grow and shift with you. You give them the opportunity to do that with you. Otherwise, you're hiding all your goodness away and they don't know. So give them a chance to rise with you. It's going to be okay. The card I pulled for you is, ooh, girl, what do you need to release? The waning moon. So when the moon comes into its fullness, and then now it's losing in light, that's the waning moon. And the waning moon is about what can we gain from the harvest. So if you think about the new moon, and this is for everybody who's listening, the new moon is when we're planting the seeds. And then within the first 3 days, we start to see those seeds growing below the ground, right? So the roots are growing. And now at the first quarter moon, now it's starting to gain in light, and it's growing towards the sun. So it's like actually going above the ground. And then when it comes to the full moon stage, it's now harvest. So we're harvesting the hard work that we have put in since the new moon, sorry. And then now where we're at here, Jenny, is what do you need to release? It's almost like that's the time when we start to till the soil, take all the, the weeds out. We're harvesting, we're enjoying the fruits of our labor. So looking back now, you've kind of created this wonderful, amazing life. What do you want to keep, and what do you want to leave out? And so for you, Jenny, I think it's really important for you to kind of you are the creator of your life. You are not just being pulled along because this is the story someone has said that, laid out for you. You get to be the architect of your life. And how can you now say, this isn't serving me anymore, or I want to shift this? I feel like for you, it's a little bit of a shift of things, shift of perspective, or just being more of yourself, or being a little bit more wooey. I feel like Jenny's also in a relationship. Is that correct?
Yes, she is. Yeah.
And I feel like with her significant other, he's very loving, very kind, very much a supporter of her and her goals. But again, there's a little bit of this hiding of some of the things that you do in the inner circle and not sharing them with your husband. And so I feel like little bits at a time. I'll tell you this, the Farmer's Almanac has the moon cycles in there, and when to plant and when to do repairs on your house, cut your hair, have surgery. That's all in the Farmer's Almanac. So old farmer white dudes are following the moon too. Okay, so give your husband just a little bit of credit that little things like that you can take him along on your journey. Little bits, not fire hose. He'll be too overwhelmed. Little bits. I feel like I have a lot in common with Jenny because my husband is the same way. Not into this at all, but as I plant little seeds, they grow. And now my husband actually refers people to me. So you never know. You have a huge ally with Jenny. She has a huge ally in her husband. It's just that there's this divide with her spiritual self. Again, not with her husband being shared that. So even just little bits of like, hey, around the moon, did you know that ERs actually fill up around the full moon, and teachers actually follow the full moon because they know their kids are going to be a little crazy. So there's something there, right? Knowing, oh, there's a full moon coming up. It might even help your husband to navigate a little bit about his life as well. So I hope that helps you.
That I think that's going to be very helpful for her, to be honest. I know it's going to be great. She's also a Gemini. So the air you mentioned, air at the top. I'm like, oh girl, yeah, makes sense.
Oh man, this is so much fun.
Right? Isn't it? Okay. I just want to keep going forever. And I know we both got to go. So here's the thing. I'll post below on how to get a hold of Sheetal. Sheetal, if you are open to it, when our book comes out, or even sooner, are you open to doing this again?
Oh my God, yes. 1000%.
We didn't even scratch the surface on some of the stuff. Like there's so much more to talk about and so much more. I think I'll also have you on a round table of a bunch of psychics all sitting around the table and answering questions. So we'll have that too. That'll be super fun. So you have not heard the last of Sheetal, and there's more to come. Guys, reach out to her. Get an astrology reading. I promise not 3 hours. Unless you pay for that one.
No, I've changed a lot since then. Okay. It's very targeted now.
It is, but it's all gold. All of it is gold. Thank you again, Sheetal, so much for being on. I've really appreciate it. And you've just been such a gem, and I adore you so much.
Oh, thank you for having me on here. I knew I was going to enjoy this so much. I love you so much.
I love you
so
too.
I just always am so honored when you asked, and this is always a hell yes, always. So I can't wait to come back and see how things go. And congratulations on this amazing podcast. I'm so happy for you.
Thank you. Awesome. Thanks so much, hon.